police officers have sworn to respect the badge at all times. Yet among them exist a few that choose to tarnish the very badge they swore to respect. Entrusted to maintain law and order, these few cops have been found in the most compromising situations, drunk. These are some of the cops who have been caught drunk on duty. On July 4, 2022, the police were alerted of a situation where a patrol car had run a stop sign and swerved dangerously in Lake County, Florida. Officers responded to the call and quickly saw the patrol car swerving all over the road. One officer stopped the car and recognized the driver as Oscar Mayorga, a police officer in the Apopka Police Department. The first thing the officers did was to disarm Mayorga, and then they asked him whether he was okay. Realizing he was going to get in trouble, Mayorga lied, claiming that he was having seizures. However, one officer did not believe the man due to his alcoholic stench, so he checked the patrol car and found a beer can.
He's saying he's prone to seizures, but he will not.
Yes, sir.
He said he doesn't want EMS, but I called him anyway. There's a beer can.
He asked Mayorga about this, and he claimed that the bottle was 3 days old. He insisted that the only thing he had taken was the medication for his seizures, but no one was buying his story. When the paramedics arrived, Mayorga admitted that he had a few cans of beer earlier. When asked to do a sobriety test, Mayorga refused, saying he did not want to go to jail. What did he expect? He was detained and taken to the police station, where a breathalyzer test found his alcohol limit 5 times more than the legal limit. Mayorga's supervisor arrived, and he couldn't hide his disappointment. Mayorga was charged with driving under the influence and placed on administrative leave with full pay. It is a bit disappointing to see that the people we hope protect us end up in such situations, giving their colleagues a hard time, like in this next case. Justin Augustine pulls into work, but it's noted that his vehicle has been totaled. He's approached by a supervisor who wants to take him to a routine drug and alcohol test, since standard procedure demands that a test is done for a totaled car. He tells Augie to disarm. From his demeanor, the supervisor can tell that Augie is hammered out of his mind. Augie refused to go to the test, insisting that he wanted to go home. It was at this point that Augie started crying, cursing at the supervisor, and refusing to take the alcohol and drug test. He kept saying that he had messed up, but no one was feeling sympathetic towards him. He is reminded that he had hit a semi-trailer, so he needs to take the standard test or get arrested. He then argued with his supervisor about driving home. Augie was taken back to the station, but he was so drunk that he kept falling off his seat, making a police officer hold him up.
Hey, Justin. Can you hear me?
Augie resigned from the force, but he had to face the consequences of his actions. He was found guilty of handling a weapon and operating a vehicle while under the influence. He was sentenced to 1-year probation, 177 days of suspended jail time, and a $300 fine and court costs. This situation pales in comparison to our next case, where a police officer commits a crime and threatens the person she has hurt. At around 9 p.m. in November 2022, the Orlando Police Department responded to a call about a car collision. As soon as they get to the site, they are greeted by Apopka police officer Sara Muni. She curses and swears at the officers, making it impossible to talk to her and get an account of what had happened. She wants the responding officers to think that she has been so violated that she cannot speak. The police officers decided to speak to the other driver and get an account of what had happened. The driver explained that he had been rear-ended by Sara. Instead of taking responsibility for her actions, Sara had done something utterly disgusting. The driver had recorded part of the confrontation, and he showed this to the police officers. The recording showed Sara coming to the driver's side, opening his door, and shoving his arm when he tried to close it. She then yelled at him, threatening him not to go after her as she was a cop.
I need you to fucking hit my car right now. Don't come at me, ma'am. Nothing.
I would ask you.
Nothing.
I would ask
I'm
you.
a cop.
That's the driver's side?
This right here.
Yeah, right here.
I would ask you to
Okay.
move this way.
Since his version of the events seemed to align, the police officers went back to Sara and gave her a ticket for reckless driving. Sara then turns the narrative, wanting the other driver to get arrested as he is not a nice person. She says that the other driver hit her car, but a sworn statement from an independent witness says otherwise. Sara is informed that not being nice is not a crime. The police officers decide to open a criminal DUI and battery investigation. Sara was then asked several questions, but she gave dodgy answers. The police officers also wanted to know why she kept saying that she was a cop, but she answered that she did not know. Sara soon realizes she's not getting away with her behavior and starts acting up. She is arrested for driving under the influence and battery and placed in the police car. She starts cursing at the police officers, threatening to report them to her police chief. However, the chief never came through, and Sara was charged with a first-degree misdemeanor of driving under the influence, battery, and false imprisonment. She was suspended from the police force without pay, and if found guilty, she could face up to 5 years imprisonment. Despite there being clear laws about driving under the influence, this police officer wants to receive grand treatment even though he has broken the law. New Jersey police received a call on April 27, 2018 regarding a black Chevrolet truck driving erratically and running red lights. Officers responded to the call and apprehended the driver, Police Lieutenant John Chu. He seemed volatile and didn't want to cooperate with the police officers. He is asked to do a field sobriety test and he fails the test. Since he has failed the test, he has to be taken to the police station. All through, John was acting entitled as he believed his badge would protect him. Little did he know that nothing would protect him this time. John called someone to drive his truck home and then went to sit in the passenger side of the police car. He became very difficult to deal with since he did not want to sit in the back, prompting an argument and for people to start taking notice of the situation. John did not want to be seen as a criminal even though he had been caught drunk driving. Since it seemed like he was resisting arrest, the police officers wanted to cuff him. This got him worked up, and he agreed to drive in the back without cuffs.
No, there's no cuffs.
Yeah, what I have to do, we have policies and procedures. Let me call the LT. Just, you can shut the door for now.
Lieutenant John Chu was found guilty of driving under the influence, and his driver's license was revoked for 7 months, followed by 6 months with an ignition interlock. He was also required to spend a minimum of 6 hours a day for 2 consecutive days in an intoxicated driver resource center. In this next case, this police chief gets a hug and a drive home, even though he has been found driving while totally hammered. Patrol officers stop a driver telling him he has been swerving all over the road. The driver, Hazelwood Police Chief Gregg Hall, explains that he was eating while driving. He seems calm and collected as he mentions that he, too, is a cop, about to retire in 9 months. Hall admits to having drunk earlier in the day and agrees to a breathalyzer test. The patrol officer calls his sergeant to help him with the case since he has found out that the chief is hammered drunk. Hall agrees to do a field sobriety test but claims to have bad ankles when asked to walk the line. This situation starts to frustrate the officers, but they have to treat the chief with respect. They decide to call O'Fallon Police Chief John Neske to supervise the situation. However, Neske's arrival is not the relief the officers hoped it would be. He recognizes Hall and hugs him, deciding to drive him home since the two are friends. He tells his colleagues that he will scold Hall for his actions. Once again, it is seen that sometimes police officers step in to help their own. Is it okay for police officers to get drunk and then wave their badges around and get away with it? What's your opinion? Share your thoughts in the comments below and remember to subscribe for more gripping stories. See you in the next video.